Welcome to another edition of 42 Straight Years In, Volume 2, Part 29. On my crackhead update, I see this lady. She walks by almost every morning going to the train station. And she have a large cup in her hand. She be talking to it like it's a microphone. She be having a hell of a conversation with that cup. She don't look right or left. She just be looking in straight ahead and talking into her cup. Well, that's my crackhead update. Y'all get your shanks out and let's ride. A lot of subscribers and in the comment section has been requesting Lion Willie. I asked Lion Willie to appear on this channel, and he said the Attorney General Child Support Division probably will find him and they'll locate him if he appear on YouTube for back child support. Also, he said the next time he go to Mars, he probably gonna take me with him. Now, I ain't never flown in a spaceship before. He said it travels at the speed of light. He said his first trip, he shit all over himself. He said he was flying so fast he was dodging meteorites. I asked him where is this planet located, and he said it's right down the street from the moon. I'd say, well, there's no streets up by the moon. He'd say, well, when you're traveling at the speed of light, it appears that you're going a couple blocks. I tried to fix my lighting this morning by using an LED lamp. I can tell it's still flickering. I can't get this camera set right to save my life. Anyway, I'm just going to touch on a lot of subjects this morning. One guy in the comment section asked me to compare a modern day warden with one of the old wardens. There's no comparison. A modern day warden is more of a businessman. Even though under the old system, that warden was a businessman because it was all about crop production and keeping the factories running at maximum capacity. Like I've stated in previous videos, the taxpayers did not have to spend money on prisons in the state of Texas. It was all self-supporting. Now, it costs the taxpayers an arm and a leg. The difference is, one of these modern day wardens, you could walk up and slap the shit out of him, really. You know what's going to happen. You probably get kicked a little bit once they get the handcuffs on you before the camera. Anytime it's a use of force, they record it before the camera arrives or they turn it on. You probably get kicked and head bumped on the concrete a few times. And taking the pre-hearing attention, you already know what's going to happen after that. You go into administrative segregation. Where under the old system, it would have took a lot of nuts to hit one of those wardens. You could do it, but it's a hell of a price to pay. And also under the old system, violence was no big deal to none of those wardens. They didn't give a shit about no violence. As long as you wasn't messing with one of the guards, one of the inmate guards, they really didn't care because they would tell you to defend yourself. Under this new system, there's no way a warden gonna tell you to go stab another inmate. There's no way he gonna say that. You couldn't even explain to a warden. You go to him and say, hey, these guys stole all my property out of my cell. What do I do? Even though in Texas, they have a rule where if inmate property is stolen or misplaced, that they are responsible for it because that cell door is never supposed to be open. Or if you living in an open bay dorm, that guy is what they call in Texas out of place coming into your cubicle when you're not there. But two inmates are not allowed to be in the same cubicle at the same time. It's all single. But they're not going to take the responsibility for your property. I've seen them every blue moon replace a guy's property. But once you start down that track, even if you say, well, I'll move you to another cell block. I might move you to the dormitory. Depends on your classification. Those guys gonna find out what happened in that other spot, and it's likely the same thing gonna happen there. Even though they don't condone stealing, but it's a possibility with all these young broke guys. They're the main ones doing all the stealing and shit. It's not none of the old timers. These want to be so-called gang members. They broke as hell. They don't get no money. They want to smoke K2. They want to smoke weed. They want a cell phone. All this shit costs a lot of money inside of a penal institution, and they don't have the money. So it comes to by any means necessary. You can just look at how screwed they are up on the outside, and just imagine what they'll be like inside of a prison. The guy got a 40 or 50-year sentence. He's 21 years old. Nobody writes him. He sure ain't gonna get a visit, and it's by any means necessary. He haven't got prison smart yet to learn how to hustle inside of a prison. That comes with time. You're not just gonna arrive in a prison and master all the other hustles, because the other guys been there forever, and they gonna be in that position to control. They gonna get that good job assignment. You're not gonna get it. You're a new kid on the block. So the bottom line is like comparing a mango with a pineapple. You can't compare a modern day warden with one of the old ones. There's very few of the old wardens even in the system now. I think probably one of the only ones, I gotta look him up, is Warden Crow. He used to be my field boss. Now he was a warden from way back in the 70s. Now I don't know if he had retired yet, but most of these wardens, they weren't even working in the prison system when they had the inmate guards, and they was working you like a Hebrew slave. They was not nowhere around. So they don't know anything about that system except listen at other inmates talk. Now sometimes they would call me in the office. I'd sit down. They want to hear about the old days. They didn't heard about Captain Bad. They didn't heard about Red Rider. They heard about Old Lord. And so they want to talk about it. And me, I'm going to say what's on my mind. I'm very outspoken. I remember some assistant wardens who ain't never seen me before. The senior warden had me in there talking. He be saying, damn, warden, you let this inmate talk like that? He said, well, at least he speak what's on his mind. You don't want to hear what I got to say? Fuck it, get up and leave out the office. I don't give a shit. I'm going to always try to keep it 100. And also, I like to, when I'm speaking on prison subjects, I more or less like to speak on things that I've seen and witnessed with my own two eyes, not through third-party information, because shit happens all the time in a prison. And Texas has large maximum security prison. I might be over on A side, something happened on B side. I'll know about it, but I didn't personally witness that incident. Or vice versa. I might be on B side, something happened on A side, or something happened in the dorms. I'll know about it, probably know the participants, but I did not witness it with my own two eyes. I more or less like to speak on things that I've personally seen or heard myself. And a lot of people want to hear, oh Lord, I'm going to have to wait till I get moved to my new residence and get Wi-Fi set up, and I'll have to put that on Patreon, because that's a little bit too raw for YouTube. I constantly get demonetized. And right now, this is my job. I constantly get demonetized on those videos. I know what the commenters and subscribers want to hear, but I'm losing money. I got to go on Patreon where I can be raw and uncut. And I'm still waiting on the interview I did with Lockdown 23-1. I don't know when he's going to drop that video. He haven't told me anything. It was supposed to have been this Sunday, but it didn't happen because he probably got other things to do. And within all likelihood, it'll be in the immediate future. You ever notice something during this pandemic? All these billionaires, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and all these other people, you haven't heard of them doing nothing to help the poor people. Bill Gates can give everybody who's qualified and eligible in the state of Washington a stimulus check out of his own money. It just be a tax write-off. The little man is what made him the billions. That's who buy these expensive ass iPhones. You see a poor fucker who living in a shotgun house, but he's got an iPhone 11 Pro Max. He can't even afford to live in a decent house, but it's a status thing. Everybody wants the iPhone, especially the young guys. They love young chicks. They love to show out their iPhone. He ain't did nothing. I've heard not one of them doing anything to help the poor. Now they got a lot of non-profits, but these people need money right now in their bank account, a check or a debit card or something. You don't hear them giving nothing back to the people. It's always, by this being a capitalist country, it's always everybody's take, never give nothing back. You ain't heard none of one of these pro athletes going in the hood feeding the people, and they don't do shit. I always got pissed off in prison when I see guys glorifying these clowns. I don't hate on them because they successful, but I tell the poor guy, you ain't gonna never play professional sports. You're not good enough. So why are you dwelling on what kind of car this guy, how his old lady look, what type of contract he got? You have nothing to do with this, and he don't care nothing about you at all. Nothing. There is no future in the past. You just never forget the past, because history has a tendency of repeating itself. You can't go forward by constantly looking backwards. You just don't never forget. I've said this in previous videos. A guy who released from prison, maxed out his sentence, and he released to Dallas. He get off the Greyhound bus station down on Lamar, nowhere to go. He got a government phone with no contacts. There's no contacts in that phone. He ain't got nobody to call. Let me see the average person, so-called law-abiding citizen. Let me see you make it from that point. You got a little red onion sack with all your worldly possessions in it. It's inside that little onion sack. It's going to be red. Every now and then, a yellow sack. You ain't got nowhere to live. You got $100 in your pocket. Let me see you make it. You want to know why the recidivist rate is so high? A lot of guys release, they don't have nowhere to live. Now, if you're on parole, they're not going to release you without an address. They got a lot of halfway houses. And they'll send no guys on parole to the halfway house. But if you max your sentence out, the state of Texas is no longer responsible for you. You are on your own. A lot of time I'll park over at the McDonald's by the Greyhound bus station. I see several guys. I can look at their clothes, their haircut, their body language. It tell me everything I need to know. This is his first day out of prison. Now, a lot of them, I'd say, hey, man, what's going on? I'd talk to them, hey, what unit you was on? And, they did their time. Some of them was on parole. Some of them going to halfway house. And some of them is maxed out. He's not on parole. And he'll say, man, I ain't got nowhere to go, nowhere to live. I would take him to the shelter. I'd drive him over to the shelter. Now, during this pandemic, the shelter is not accepting people because they practicing social distancing. They got plenty empty beds in the shelter. The one over in South Dallas, it holds 500 people. And they can't accept new people. They worry about the COVID-19. So what is this guy going to do? His only option is to go back in the hood and try to find somebody that he know and hope those people give him a place to live, which is highly unlikely unless you meet some guy you know from prison. He might help you out. But it's hard in hell making it. You take one of these millionaire guys, take all his possessions, give him a bullshit cell phone, and dump him over here in Oak Cliff at the Illinois station. Say, okay, fool, you're on your own. Let me see what you can do. Take away all his contacts. No more contacts with the people he known in the past. No bank account, no debit card, nothing. Except that government phone and a little bag with all his paperwork and photo albums and other little trinkets they bring out of prison. That's all you got. Let me see you survive. It's not easy. It don't even sound like it's easy. I gotta head over to my subscriber and get uploaded. And remember this: love is only an illusion, created to give lonely people a false sense of hope. Though humans have need for companionship, the idea of true love is nothing more than a myth. People have been searching for love their whole life, never find it. You know, me, myself, none of us know what happens in the hereafter. We all assume. The scientists can't figure it out. The religious sector, they can't figure it out. They assume this is what happened when you die. I just hope one thing: when I'm buried, I don't get buried by a crybaby ass person. Hey man, you didn't have no cigarettes in your pocket when you died? You didn't bring no newspapers? I've been down here 200 years, man. Oh man, I gotta hear this shit for another 1,000 years, man. Please put me in a peaceful place in the cemetery and put an AK-47 in my casket. So when we get where we going, they start that bullshit, I can come right out and start shooting the hell out of them. Cause I already know it's some more shit. I have to move on to the next level of so-called hell, if it's such a thing. It's a matter of opinion on whether it's a heaven and hell. To me, I accept the fact that it's a transition. You transition from one to the other. When everything is going good for you, you are in heaven. When everything is going bad, you are in hell. Y'all like and subscribe, and I thank you for watching. Y'all have a good day.